sorts today. All right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order for November 3rd, 2022. Welcome all members present except for Member Bloomfield. Consent agenda is before you. What say the members? Motion from approval from Member Klein, second from Member Wachinski. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Do we have any appearance by members of the public?
We do not.
Okay, thank you very much. One quick housekeeping matter I do want to mention to the committee before we get any farther along, and it slips my mind. This is not our last committee meeting. We actually will be meeting one more time on Thursday, December 1st. Even though some of us will be just a few days away from officially leaving office, we have one more meeting as a committee on Thursday, December 1st. So please be sure to mark that down. And thanks to administration for reminding me of that before I was out of town that day. So, yeah, okay. Sure. All right, moving on through the agenda. Departmental matters. Mr. Steffa has submitted his annual or his monthly report to us.
And if I may?
Please, yes.
Chairman Marmet and members of the committee, Mr. Steffa was not able to be here this evening, but I did want to, I can answer any questions of his monthly report to the best of my abilities or find that information for you. But I also did want to share with you updates on the road project at the park, as that is the most significant project happening right now. It's going to be completed in a couple more weeks. There were some delays because they found numerous soft spots that had to be excavated, and that required extra material to be brought in to strengthen the base. And so I was very thankful that our highway department was in charge of this project and is taking the time to do it right the first time. So according to Mr. Gertz, who is the foreman of this project, the first 2 layers of aggregate, which is 8 inches in total, will be completed today, with an remaining 2 inches to be placed at the beginning of next week, and then the hot mix should start at the end of next week. It's going to take 2 lifts of hot mix to complete all of the new road that they're putting in, but they believe that will be finished before the inclement weather, and it's going to be beautiful come spring when the park opens back up.
Excellent. Any questions for Administrator Taylor about the Parks and Rec report? Member Lehman.
So previously it had been mentioned that there were some challenges with the temporary road that was being used while that one is being serviced. Is there any report or any concern or anything like that with that temporary road that will now kind of continue to still use, but not really?
I think the majority of the issues were for people who were trying to camp. And yes, there were some campers who were disappointed that their experience camping was met with a construction project. And so there were some refunds that were given for people who didn't want to stay. Obviously, a construction site does create some noise and some dust, and probably not the idyllic camp setting that some were expecting that were close to the project. And so refunds were given when they were requested, and Mr. Steffa and his team tried to accommodate as best they could for those people.
Then big thanks to everybody with the team that were able to not only make sure the project continued forward, but that the guests were accommodated too. So awesome, thank you.
Administrator Taylor, I had one question, and you may not be able to answer this, I don't know. This past year, Mr. Steffa had a terrible time, as I think a lot of recreation departments did across the state, in hiring lifeguards for the year, and had decided instead to go with a swim at your own risk sort of posted signage at the beach. Do you know, I mean, next year, is he planning to hopefully be able to hire on lifeguards, or is the signage going to be sort of our mode of operation moving forward?
No, I think he plans to try to recruit lifeguards for next year. That is the plan, and that is in our budget for next year. I know this year was kind of a test of that process because we weren't, we wanted to keep the beach open if possible. It was met with mixed results. Obviously, the number of swimmers and utilizers of the beach were down. And then there were also some issues with geese and the quality of the water. So we
Gross.
hope that lifeguards and more usage will pick back up next season.
Great, thank you very much. All right, moving on to the agenda, item 4B, Mr. Doherty, Facilities Report.
You can come to any of these open spots,
Yeah, please.
or you could, yeah, we can hear you too. Can you hear him?
I have to have him on a microphone, so if you want to,
Okay.
I can usually hear Tim, but Tim, the recorder doesn't. There you go.
Test.
Testing, testing.
Okay. I trust you all have my report. Are there any questions?
No?
No? Making it too easy for me.
Member
Yes.
Lehman?
Not so much a question, but thank you for providing the visual aid on
Sure.
the before and after with the chiller replacements along the way, as well as the sinkholes and like that. That was really helpful to be able to understand and to see where we're at. So thank you for your efforts in getting all that together for us and making sure that maintenance is
Absolutely.
continuing forward. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Doherty? Okay, Mr. Doherty, thank you so much for your good work.
Thank you.
All right, item 4C, County Administrator.
Thank you, Chairman Barnett. First item before you for action, please. First item before you for action is request approval of the fiscal year 2023 recommended budget for the PBC leased fund, including A1 and A2. A1 is the Law and Justice Center building, and A2 is the Government Center building. And if there's no objections from the board, I would request that that motion be taken together.
Oh, that's a lovely idea. And just as a nice little annual reminder for the committee, we generally will approve these PBC budgets at this meeting every November as part of our regular process. All right, looking for someone who'd be willing to motion 4C, 1A, A-1, and A-2. Member Wachinski, second. Second by Member Klein. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next action item, there's request approval of the fiscal year 2023 recommended budget for the PBC rent for O&M, which is operations and maintenance, for Fund 162, and that includes B1, the Juvenile Detention Center program, B2, the courthouse, which is the museum, B3, animal control, B4, the Law and Justice Center building, and B5, the Government Center building. And again, this is for O&M.
All right, we'd like to be able to move all these together if we possibly can. For 4C, 1B, 1 through B5. Member of the committee like to, motion by Member Klein, second by Member Rogel. Any questions or discussions from the committee? Okay, all those in favor of approving those items as presented, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for McLean County for the old courthouse plaster work. That's on page 14. This is for this year's budget in reference to the plaster work at the museum.
Okay, All those in favor of, I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry. A motion to approve? Motion by Vice Chair Johnson, second by Member Lehman. All those in favor of approving 4C, 1C, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Those are the only items I have for action. I also have included our third quarter budget update for your review, and I can answer any questions you might have.
Any questions at all from the committee? Okay. All right. Seeing none, let's move on to item 5, other business and communications from the committee. Member Klein?
I partially want to remind everybody, but also have a question about this Saturday at the Courthouse Museum. They're going to have the rededication of the War Memorial. And there was intended to be in the flyover and everything. I don't know if we know because of the weather. It's definitely going to rain on Saturday. If we've got any updates, I mean, they haven't told you any.
I have not received any updates. I know that they are still planning on holding the event, which begins at 1 p.m., but I haven't heard of any changes to that.
Thank you for, I was hurriedly trying to find the email that had the start time on it for that, so at 1 p.m. And the committee, of course, is invited if you're able to make it. If you've been over to the Courthouse Square, it's really lovely what they've done with the memorials over there. It really spruces them up and they look great. Any other business to come before the committee? All right, seeing none, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all for your service to the county.